been a few days since I uploaded a garden video. A little behind on some of that. The garden's a little bit of a mess at the moment. I figured I would do a grow room tour since it's a little cleaner in here and there's probably more exciting things. The dogs like to hang out in here because it's 80 something degrees in here. But I wanted to show y'all some of the yellow gooseberry tomatoes, which I got germination on in 3 days. I planted the seeds on the 14th, and they were sprouted the afternoon of the 17th. I did use really high-end potting mix. It was absurdly expensive, but I wanted something nicer for indoor use. And I don't mess with fertilizing, so if I get a potting mix that already has some organic fertility in it, then I don't have to worry about fertilizing. I can just water. I'm kind of lazy like that. The yellow gooseberry tomatoes were the ones that germinated in 3 days. That's these 2 rows here. And interestingly enough, they are not the largest, most vigorous plants, even though they were the first to come up. I think they came up so quickly just because gooseberries, like most cherry types, are probably closer to wild tomatoes than they are some of the more overly domesticated, gigantic, sugary sweet sandwich slicers. Tend to be less vigorous, take a little longer to germinate. But yeah, those first 2 rows are the yellow gooseberry. The next 2 rows are tomato inverno, something I got that said good winter storage tomato. Apparently has a really long shelf life after you pick them. Neither of those are tomatoes I've grown before. Actually, I think this entire tray is stuff I haven't really grown. These green giants here, this is the potato leaf variety that's in this tray. It is growing the fastest, and they are the largest plants. Potato leaf types, in my opinion, do tend to grow a little faster. Yields seem to be a little lower on some of them, but they are pretty vigorous, indeterminate binding type tomatoes most of the time. The ones to the left of the green giant are a white tomato, white tomasol, I think. I tried those last year. They did not do well. But I started all my tomatoes last year in an unheated plastic hoop house. I didn't do them indoors last year, and I think the cooler temperatures, maybe some disease, but I remember those just did not do well. I also have these F1s here called Sunnyboy. It's a small yellow determinate tomato. I picked those because they're very quick in terms of days to harvest, which is what I want here. We go from frost to 100-degree weather in almost like a month and a half. We can still get frosts into early April, but by the end of May, we often have triple-digit temperatures. So the window of time for tomatoes to fruit is very, very short. Not a whole lot of varieties are going to be fruiting once your nighttime temperatures are in the 80s. So if I can get larger plants outside faster and use determinate varieties that are really quick, early season, short producers, they make all their fruits all at once very quickly. That's kind of what I go for. Obviously these yellow gooseberries, the tomato invernos, and the regular standard red cherries over here. Stop! Stop it! Stop! Stop fighting! Obviously those are going to take a lot longer to produce. They are indeterminate types, but I'm hoping that the cherries tend to be a little hardier and will continue to produce throughout the heat of the summer. I can always move some of them into the shade if I put them in pots. And then sometimes cherries, if you're able to keep diseases off of them, you can push them all the way through the summer into the fall, and then when your temperatures start to cool down in the fall, they'll produce again. Are you hiding behind the onions now? They've been fighting a lot. Zorro's 11, and he outweighs his daughter pretty significantly, but she's 14 months and just has a lot more energy, and they get in these scuffles, and she wins most of the time. I'm not sure why they have been fighting so much lately, but I don't tolerate fighting in the grow room. I usually make them go sit outside in the cold when they fight. Anyway, there's a couple other varieties I wanted to show y'all. I talked about the yellow gooseberries just because I thought they were interesting and they're kind of a wild type. I picked the tomato invernos because they have a really long shelf life. I don't know why I'm bothering with these white tomasols again. They didn't do good last year, but I had plenty of seed left over. The green giant was just kind of a novelty. I'll probably get a few fruits before the heat kicks in, do fried green tomatoes. I talked about the Sunnyboy F1 yellow tomatoes are real short season determinant, early types. The Marglobes, kind of the same thing there. I had really good luck with the Marglobes last year. They produced really well for me. I just had them in like 5-gallon buckets, and they set massive amounts of fruit very early in the season before the heat kicked in. And I mean, I had one plant that I think I got 30-something tomatoes off of in a 5-gallon bucket. And the Marglobes are like a little smaller than a tennis ball, but they were tasty. And then the standard red cherries over there, I just always do those. A couple other varieties of tomatoes here and there, but I'm more interested in peppers this year, so I went a lot harder on peppers and did less tomatoes. I have some chocolate bells coming up here. There's also some basil and chives and Cubanelle peppers over here. Lots of onions. I'm doing Vidalias, Texas Granos, and Japanese flat unzins, which I really like. I've never done the Texas Granos or the Vidalias before, but I've done the unzin flat onions quite a few times. These are also chocolate bells. This is seed I've saved from previous years. I had some chocolate habaneros that did not come up apparently. That row is just, nothing's there. More Cubanelles, purple Cayennes, which took quite a while to germinate, but you can see purple in the stems and the leaves already, which is really neat. I had some old seed for Numex Joe E. Parkers, supposed to be really good for grilling. Only looks like 2 came up there. This next row is all bell peppers I've been saving. These are a variety that start bright purple, then they turn green, then they eventually turn red. Had massive amounts of seed for those. A couple of them have come up lacking chlorophyll, which is really interesting. I don't know if you can see it with the lights, but those 2 right there have no chlorophyll pigment. The leaves are kind of white, and I don't know if they're mutants that are going to die. They're definitely growing slower than the rest. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those, but they are really interesting. There's just an abject lack of chlorophyll. The leaves are white. The next row is Shishitos, and then this last row is supposed to be some Longsdorf tobacco, Nicotiana Longsdorfii. It looks like none of that has come up yet. Some more tomatoes up here. These are a few more green giants, a few more white tomasols, some Brandywine Yellows, which I don't think I'll ever grow again. Stop barking! You're ruining my video! I don't know why I have dogs. Yeah, the Brandywine Yellows, I've grown them like 2 years in a row, and they're really, really large, indeterminate plants, very vigorous, but the yields have just been abysmally low. I had plants last year that were 8 feet tall, and I think I got like 3 or 4 fruits off of them. It was just really depressing. But I'm super excited about these Marconi peppers. I've never grown Marconis before. They look really cool. It's an Italian variety, Italian. There's also some ancho peppers that are just now starting to germinate. Up here we have a bunch of regular habaneros, not the chocolate ones. These are all banana peppers. I just grow these for fun. This whole tray here is beefsteak tomatoes, which I don't grow, but I give away to neighbors. And I usually try to choose varieties that do better in our extremely hot and humid, wet climate with a very short season for tomatoes. Obviously, beefsteaks don't fit that bill, but the neighbor's always asking me for beefsteaks. He's from up north, and I try to tell him beefsteaks don't really do well here. If you're in the south, you should look for heat-tolerant tomato varieties, really short season, early producers, not big sandwich slicers, but people like beefsteaks, so I usually give a lot of these away to neighbors, and then I just kind of watch as the neighbors kill them. Orange bell peppers over here. I'm really excited about those. Also have some verticillium wilt-resistant Romas. I don't know if we get verticillium here, but I saw them at the store. They look cool. More onions in the back. Another whole tray of onions there. These are rare cacti that are just starting to germinate. There's also 2 Book Jalokias that have come up. I had some seeds that were like 10 years old. Burned my nostrils just opening the seed pack. There's a few flowers in here. More green giant tomatoes. I don't know what's wrong with this one. This is all messed up looking, isn't it? When I see stuff like that, I usually just eat it. There is no sense in having weird... Stop! Stop fighting! Stop! Stop!